You know how much it would immediately destroy the war effort if Athrun quick-fired and shot Kira dead?
Oh, absolutely.
Although I'm expecting, like, a hug or something to happen.
All right, we are calling all Gundam seed pilots. Are you ready to double your deployment? Join us on Patreon and get double episodes dropped right away. Once we reach 30 patrons, we'll bring double episodes to YouTube for everybody to experience. So fuel your Gundam addiction on Patreon. So let's build this community together, join Patreon, and get those double episodes of Gundam Seed.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Justin, and we are back with another episode of Gundam Seed. Before anything else though, we've got some comments. Mr. Fricky from the Patreon, from the episode Divine Thunder, says, "Okay, the neutron jammers are designed to prevent the use of nukes. The anti-jammers from Freedom and Justice can be used to use nukes again."
That's problematic.
There's a reference I'm going to make here, and I'm sure you're going to be able to guess where it comes from. You want to do it preemptively?
No, I'm good.
Macross has a giant treaty about not using nukes and everything like that, and literally the episodes we just recorded recently are about them using nukes again, so we're on par. However, I think that those episodes came out in the late 90s, and this comes out in the early 2000s, I believe, so Macross did it first. Also, I guess my assumption was that the Freedom and the Justice were using a nuclear power source, and that's what its anti-jammer was.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, we see it on the Gundam. It's like a box with a nuclear symbol on it. Also, I don't know how neutron jammers stop nukes. I'm pretty sure neutrons don't work that way. Because neutrons pass through solid matter all the time, which means that actual nuclear reactors are being bombarded by neutrons from, say, the sun constantly. I'm no physicist, but the area of interest I had as a kid was in science, so
yeah,
I've got a shit memory, so... And also, lots of stuff has changed. There's a half-life on information. So things I may have learned as a kid, and are half-remembering now, may no longer be true. I can't remember the name. Was it the neutron that they thought moved faster than light?
Oh, gosh.
There was something. There was a particle they thought moved faster than light, and then they discovered that it didn't. So obviously it's not the photon. So I don't know what I'm thinking.
No,
I think it might have been a neutron. I'll also say, just a random segue here, one of my favorite books, I'd say top 5, maybe top 10, Engines of God. The aliens use neutrons to destroy the Earth. Because they inject the Earth with anti-neutrons, and then they inject it with the neutrons. And then they're all falling into the gravity well of the Earth until they slowly merge right there at the center of the Earth. So when the gravity finally pulls them all in, it's matter and antimatter. They just blow up the Earth. So it's like a ticking clock, and the humanity can't fucking do anything about it because it's modern day humanity. The whole concept of the book is that aliens land, but they're all weird aliens, and they don't even recognize that each other exists. Because the idea is that, you know the dark forest theory of space?
Yes.
Yeah, that we were loud enough to get someone's attention. And they're distracting us by landing fake aliens on the planet whose biologies don't make any sense. Like, they weren't made to survive, they were made to distract.
I remember that theory because I think it's absolutely hilarious and I love it.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it's great. You know the concept of von Neumann probes?
No.
Oh, they're just automated probes that you can send out to, like, scout areas of space. They could rebuild one another, so you could automate a space exploration. Kind of like AI drones nowadays, but this was made before any of that kind of shit. It's basically that. Dark Forest, but you attack one another with, like, von Neumann probes, so that you never leave your system, so nobody knows where the hell you are. So there's just an automated system of planet destruction out there for anybody who gets too loud. Alright.
That's fun.
It's a good book. It's got a good follow-up. I think it's The Anvil of God, which is about revenging the Earth.
That's a heck of a name.
Well, maybe I'll do a book review on my own later. Anyway, I'll just sit here and talk about my favorite books all the time if you let me. I was a big reader as a kid. Mr. Fricky, also from the Patreon, from the episode Decisive Fire. The main upgrade for the Perfect Strike is improved battery to have the power to operate 3 striker packs at once.
Okay. That's...
In hindsight, I'm pretty sure we saw that, because I think when LaFlaga is getting ready to launch, we see him get like, boom, 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 like 3 things put down on him.
Yeah.
Alright. Next up, we have Soul Astro from the episode The Respective Solitudes. To me, this is the teenage romance TV drama of Gundams. And Kira is Jesus.
You know what? You're not wrong.
When Griff and I were watching Gundam 00, I think I had this talk with you before, that the main character, Setsuna, I felt was bland. Like, he had no characterization. I think I talked to you before about the Planck test, Planck from Ed and Ed and A.
Yes, you did.
And I believe Griffin told me about this show, Gundam Seed, where I think this also comes out before Gundam 00. So they had a character that was very emotional and very out there with his feelings. And I was like, oh, that sounds so much better than this. And then he says, oh, but it came out before this. I was like, oh, so that must not have worked, and they learned their lesson and made a hard right turn the other way with Setsuna.
Yeah, because there's a lot of It clicks in my head now hearing that this is thought of as the idea of this being the teenage drama of Gundam.
I think a lot of Gundam is teenage drama, though. I think maybe this is the one that's, like, more front and center. But I think most Gundam is teenagers dealing with drama.
Yeah.
Or maybe not drama, but obviously, like, there's an element of dealing with PTSD and trauma, not drama, but trauma.
Yep.
But there's also the element of dealing with the people around you. Like, not Gundam Origin, Mobile Suit Gundam we're watching together, obviously, and another reaction. Yep. Kai, right? Yep. Kai is drama, and he's on the ship with us and doing shit. But he's also just an element of internal drama versus the outward trauma of, like, all of our people we knew were dead.
I see what you're saying.
So I guess this one just has more drama front and center than the actual trauma that we're supposed to be looking at from other shows. I'm also just now thinking Gundam Wing had Hero, who was very, what do you call it? Stone-faced. I should know the word. It's the fucking name of the channel. Well, technically the name of the channel is Ractus, but Stone-faced Reactions is what we do. He's very stone-faced, and then we go into this with a character who's very emotional, and then we go hard right turn back into stone-faced. So, I guess we're just trying to learn our lessons.
Yeah.
Bruce Ingram, also from the Respective Solitudes. Being bad with voices, you probably haven't picked up. Rao is voiced by Toshiki Sekai. the voice of the real Char Aznabal in Origin. Suichi Ikeda, Casval/Char, will play a prominent character in Seed Destiny.
That's fun.
It's the idea, the voice of real Char, the guy that we got for 10 minutes?
Around there, yeah. Because we got the weird scene of like, oh, look, it's Char. And you're like, yo, that looks like your brother.
Well, it's just that, well, I mean, I mainly remember him, what you said, the guy on the back of the pony. But mostly I remember him for anxiety attack on a transport. You know, the moments before he explodes. And it's like, I don't want to compare Rao to that guy. That guy sucked.
Yeah. No, because we barely got him.
Well, we got enough to realize he's not that great of a guy, because he goes, like, I buy into the whole Zeon thing, because he's, like, not about independence, he's about fighting the war.
True.
I mean, it feels like at dinner, before his parents shut him up, he was, like, one step away from those Earth Federations deserve to be in camps.
Yeah.
Alright, well, those have been the comments. How about you go and remind us of what happened last time?
Alright. So last time... Hold on, my mind just went, nope.
It's funny, because right before we did the comments, you were like, what was the last episode? And then you found it. And then you were like, okay.
Correct. Oh, I remember now. Last episode was dealing with Earth Federation basically saying, yo, if you're on Earth, you're with us. To all the nations. And Orb was the one nation that's being like, I'm good. Then they actively just said, cool, join us or you are considered with zaft. So it turned into an assault on Orb, which is being used to test out 3 Earth Federation Gundams. And Azrael was effectively using it as a test to see how they perform.
I don't remember if he was using it as a test.
That might have been implication.
Well, I mean, we have no idea. Like, I'm going to say now, I have a whole notes thing of I don't know where the fuck these things come from. So
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if... I don't think you throw your shit out there as a test into, like, the giant battlefield.
True, because then the battle starts, and of course, Kira joins the fight, and at one point, Athrun comes down as well to join the fight, and we get Kira and Athrun in the same space, but I think that's where we left off.
Did you already forget Durka?
Oh yeah, Durka defends them too, because he goes back and gets in the Buster.
Which is also very weird, but I've got that in the notes as well. Not so much that Durka defends them, that Durka gets in the Buster is the weird part.
Yes.
Sorry, I mainly remember Durka not because of who he is, but his name. Did you ever watch Farscape?
No.
Oh, there was a Commander Durka in that who has a bit of an arc. Like, he's Rigel's big nemesis in Rigel's backstory, and they find his corpse. And then later on, oh no, he's not dead. He actually escaped the ship by faking his death by killing a subordinate and leaving his body in his uniform. But no, they've mind-wiped him and, like, forcibly turned him into a good person. Oh, but he remembers he's a bad guy by the end of the episode and escapes. And then you see him later as a decapitated head because somebody's killed him off-screen. But he's, like, one of my favorite early-run Farscape characters, so I remember the name Durka from that all the time. You couldn't be further from this Durka. But, yeah. So, that is the recap. I've got a bunch of thoughts here from the last 2 episodes.
Hell yeah. Why don't you tell us your thoughts?
Well, I do label Theta's thoughts when I put it into the comment area. The repeated question that we've heard from a number of people in the show has been, what do you think you should be fighting against to end this? Honestly, I don't know. The far back look into even just the future history of coordinator hate and forced subservience to the Janus 7 bombing and its fallout, there is just so much built-in hate on both sides. I feel like there is some narrative being created the closer we get to the end of the season about the leadership not following the will of the people, what with the Earth Alliance willing to sacrifice so many of its own in order to win the war, or Zaft willing to subvert its own people in order to launch a surprise attack. At the same time, we've seen evidence of Blue Cosmos being just as much of a thing as coordinator supremacists. There is built-in hate beyond just any possible dictatorships. That it's just a reality in this world and ours.
Yeah, no, it seems like it's been going on long enough that it's all that's super known.
Well, I always lead back to when Waltfield and Kira and Kigali are having that discussion about the best toppings to put on whatever meal that was they were having on the street. Mm-hmm. And then you had the resistance group just shows up and tries to assassinate Waltfield. And they're like, they don't say, oh, it's Zaft. They say, oh, it's coordinators. Which is the Blue Cosmos thing to do. So, I mean, that's like, sure, yeah. If the line of logic here is that if we disobey the leadership to try and force an end to this conflict, that does nothing about the hate groups that already exist. Like, I think Patrick is a good example of a coordinator supremacist, that we exist to be better. Because, he has that whole conversation about how many generations deep they are in on possibly not having kids anymore, but also how much worse naturals are than coordinators. And they have Blue Cosmos representing fear of coordinators, or I guess maybe the George flashback of coordinators exist to be subservient to naturals.
Yes.
That these groups exist beyond the war, beyond the leadership, beyond the dictatorships. It's a built-in situation. I don't know. If the idea is how do we get past the war, fine, sure. That doesn't solve any problems. I mean, it ends the war, but to be fair, winning the war would end the war.
Yeah, no, that's a very valid statement.
You hear that, comments? Hit me up with a paragraph explaining why. Why I'm wrong, or I'm right, or whatever. That was your in-depth note for the day. Given the past battles in space and the losses Earth Alliance has incurred in them, it would be hard to believe that Zaft has anything but dominance in orbit. I believe they were able to position orbital drop units right over the only remaining terrestrial mass driver. The victory at Panama has to be somewhat decisive when it comes to isolating Earth's military to the surface. All I can recall Earth having in orbit at this point is the lunar base, which I think we know is Atlantic Federation's HQ. I'm sure there are other ways of getting ships and material from the surface to orbit, but surely there must be drastically more costly or less effective for Zaft to have sunk so much resources into shutting down the mass drivers and spaceports on the planet.
Very much so. The success at Panama I think is a major point of zaft's success.
Oh, I believe it's indicated that Orb has a mass driver as well, although I thought that one got taken out in the first episode. Well, you remember the news report about Kaohsiung being attacked. I thought Kaohsiung was the location of whatever Orb mass driver there would be.
Yeah.
Only because only because they referred to Kaohsiung as the homeland in the first episode.
So I think that might have been the first straw. Like the first domino.
Well, I mean, we know that they already took out another mass driver before that. I don't remember where. But they only listed 3. And then, sorry, I'm looking at him on screen right now. Azrael mentioned the whole, why go after Panama and get 1 when we could divide and get 2, which is why he's going after Orb, because they have 1 by indication.
Correct. Which, isn't Orb having a mass driver new information?
It may or may not be, as to the previous discussion about Kaohsiung being Orb or not. It doesn't fit into there being only 3 if Kaohsiung was taken. Now, if there's an indication that Kaohsiung didn't get taken, or maybe it didn't have mass driver, I'm completely mistaken, or Orb has this whole mobile suit line of its own, so maybe they held off. I don't know. It's the only thing I can think of, because they introduced the idea that they have one or 2 episodes ago.
Correct. Which makes me think it might also be a more advanced mass driver, because from the other ones we've seen, they've had like the launch pads and shit, right?
No. You remember Mobile Suit? No. The Origin, episode 5, where you see everyone launching from, I can't remember the name of the Earth Federation base there. All the ships launching from Earth.
Yes.
Yeah, the same thing in this show. They have like those ramp things.
No, that's what I'm saying. So we don't see a ramp at Orb.
Well, we haven't seen all of Orb. Well,
fair enough.
I don't think we have. My guess before was that Orb is just Japan. Based on the location of the place that they went to before, I thought was one of the islands. We went over this. I don't remember the details. It was like an island. I think it was based on something that was said, and the location of an actual location in the real world that is in Japan, based on that thing that was said.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the predilection of anime putting the main characters in a Japan-centric location. So, it would just fit a theme.
True.
Sorry if I keep stopping. I am messing up my tongue as I'm talking. So.
Okay.
So, Earth Force's line of mobile suits. I have to think they are supplied from Orb, given it was the Atlantic Federation that was said to have pressured Orb into working with them to make the original 5 Gundams in Heliopolis in the first place. Just odd that they would make this deal for weapons, then threaten their source for said weapons. I understand the desire to seize the means of production, but with the losses incurred by Earth Alliance, I wouldn't think that would be a sure thing, especially considering that the training and construction we've seen going on in the Orb side of things. Just feels like it would have made more sense to have a neutral production site making you your weapons. If they aren't being made by Orb, I've written here, Morgan wrote, which I believe is the company in Orb that makes the mobile suits.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a third previously unknown mobile suit provider out there, then fair enough, I guess. It's still a massive waste of resources in my eyes, though.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Certainly, Zaft's actions at Panama were a pretty horrific war crime, but I at least appreciate that one pilot's sentiment of Hannah died in Alaska. Zaft very much still remembers Janus 7 and the people that died there. While the Alaska attack was something that they instigated themselves, the Cyclops system was equally as underhanded and kind of like dropping another nuke on them. It's not hard to see how someone already shook by one tragedy could be pressed by another into not even thinking anymore. Just a gun and a target. Not justifying their actions or trying to defend them, just seeing where it could make a certain amount of sense to some people. I believe during the reaction I mentioned Saving Private Ryan. When you consider your enemy to be as evil as the Nazis, you can get pretty deep into evil acts before you start questioning yourself.
That is absolutely the case. War is bad. The things that happen and bad, and justifications come for every level of action taken.
Well, I mean, we saw a very human justification in that it was some guy screaming that Hannah died in Alaska. So he is very clearly directly blaming everyone in the Earth Alliance for one person's death.
Correct.
So, as a condition for non-hostilities with the Earth Alliance, as predicated for the Earth Alliance to force Orb to its side without violence, with the goal of gaining its mass driver, one of the points was the dissolution of its national army. Considering for a moment that the Earth Alliance is already at war with Zaft, wouldn't it want that standing army on its side if it were to assume that the threat would be enough to make them surrender in the first place? You're muted.
There we go. Double clicked.
Okay.
You would think so, because army size absolutely matters.
Well, it's just we're going to attack you unless you surrender to us. Okay. You already consider the threat of attack to be enough to make them surrender. To the point you're like, okay, dissolve your government and then dissolve your national army. Well, maybe keep the national army? I mean, unless it's an idea of allegiance. That the national army would become a standing force in opposition to you? What was it called? King's family? King's army? The the British thing.
I know what you're talking about.
When they were getting bombed by Germany during World War II, the idea that any invasion force would be opposed by a civilian army. That everyone would fight them no matter where they were. You know, kind of like the Churchill speech, we'll fight them on the beaches, we'll fight them in the streets.
Yes.
I want to say it's like King's Army? No, that's not. It has like some sort of Dad's Army. Is it Dad's Army? Is that what I'm thinking? I remember it very specifically had like a family motif to its name. Because I think the idea is, again, it's going to be everybody you know. You and your neighbors.
Yeah.
During the Orb meeting, they say no country would dare go against the Atlantic Federation. They say that Eurasia has been shattered. We know that Artemis was part of the Eurasian Federation, which was lost. And during Operation Spitbreak, it was mainly Eurasian Federation troops, we got told, were left behind. So it seems like the Atlantic Federation was willfully trying to weaken its counterparts to strengthen its own standing in the Alliance. Kind of like how we talked about the Eurasian Federation guys on Artemis locking up the Archangel crew to try and dissect the Gundam. That not every part of the Alliance is working together.
Oh no, it's very clear that there's some things going on both sides that might even be connected.
Yeah, I mean, in this respect, the show was indicating to us. God, I don't remember when Artemis was. Was that like episode 3 or 5? It was real early. that it was being indicated to us that there was some sort of struggle within the ranks of the Earth Alliance way back then, and now we're seeing the other side of that struggle.
Exactly.
The new Earth Alliance pilots took something before they launched in their mobile suits. No clue what it was, but it does make me think back to all the pills that Rao was popping for some reason.
Okay.
We've only been shown drug use twice in the series, so it's inevitable that I'd have to wonder what both are. We don't know what Rao was taking or why, but we've seen him taking it when he's not in a mobile suit. Also, he's taking pills, and these guys, bit the top off of something and then drank it.
Yeah.
For some...
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I have no idea unless it's cocaine. Like World War II pilots. Or I guess World War I pilots. I'm not sure which one.
Insert military pilot here.
I say cocaine. I mean, it's amphetamines, right? So that they could stay out and perform for longer. I think it's actually modern, too. Probably the modern military does that.
Do they?
I want to say so. Look it up real quick.
Yeah, I'm not aware if they do.
Also, in fact, I can't spell amphetamines. The U.S. Air Force and possibly other branches of the military have prescribed amphetamines to pilots for long-endurance flights and critical missions. However, amphetamines have been commonly abused for decades. 1965, U.S. Drug and Food Administration limited amphetamines to prescription use only. Today, this pill is still in use by U.S. military air crews. They use it to solve the same problem, pilot fatigue, which can creep up on aviators during long missions and compromise their safety. And then it goes into how addictive amphetamines are. So, yeah, apparently they still do.
That's a bold choice.
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Don't want to lose the war, right? For some reason, I have less of a problem with Kira when he's fighting to defend Orb, and I don't know why. A lot of conflicting arguments go back and forth through my head that don't make much sense, like the fact Kira's journey as a pilot started in Heliopolis, Orb territory, but that should then have me rooting against Zaft, which I don't. Zaft, in my mind, started with the moral high ground of the coordinator routes and Janus 7, so obviously I should be in the position of wanting Kira to go to Athrun back to Zaft, but there's just something about this neutral territory being pushed around that makes me want to see people defecting to protect it, so I don't know.
I find Kira is much more manageable with Orb because he has a clear side that he's on.
I mean, that's also fair. He's not ambiguous. It's like the same thing about, we had a discussion before about him saying he was with Zaft. Well, you disagree with that, but in my mind he still said he was with Zaft, but he clearly said he was not with Earth Federation, or Earth Alliance. And then goes on to wear the Earth Alliance uniform anyway. I mean, I understand there is an objective position of, well, it's the only clothes on the ship, maybe? But, same argument, Ramius. Ramius has this whole debate about, can I still wear that uniform? Even though I've defected away from Earth Alliance, and they no longer represent me, and actively will kill me if I go back. So she's sitting there in her dress downs while her uniform is hanging up somewhere.
Yeah.
We know Kira got on the ship in that real 90s outfit full of belts that he was wearing. He could put that back on.
I wouldn't be... Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I think it's very much set up in a way that Kira is not being forced into that position of wearing it.
I still have no clue how Durka got the Buster. They say Morgan Rote had taken it, and even the Earth Alliance guys were told not to touch Morgan Rote. So it's not like he ran into some wreckage and got it. Morgan Rote is a very important company to either side, so one would assume that it would be protected. We just see Durka run down an alley and comes back with the Buster. Another no clue on the rewatch either.
Yeah. No, it's Durka's. That's a lot of plot holes I didn't think about.
Alright, my last thought here. I suppose from a political position, Athrun helping Kira and going against orders might be the most advantageous move for zaft. Earth Alliance has made a statement that if Orb didn't capitulate, that it would be considered in a league with zaft. Then Earth Alliance attacks, and 2 Gundams known to be in zaft control show up and start fighting in Orb's defense. We also were told earlier that Carpentera Base wanted to talk to Orb. A smart negotiator would be able to use these events to make an actual alliance between zaft and Orb.
Actual alliance, I think, is the better move.
I mean, I've already stated that I don't know what my chart here is, that my order of preference is zaft, then Orb, and then Earth Alliance. So them forming an alliance still becomes very beholden to what I'm with.
Yeah. I see Orb being by themselves.
Well, the cheese stands alone. So that's a follow-up on yesterday's commentary about cheesy stuff.
Fair enough.
A real cheesy guy.
Hey, get that cheddar. Yeah, I think Orb, because unless Orb can't really do much in space. If Orb can do stuff in space, they're fine.
Heliopolis was a space colony of theirs. They might have a mass driver, which is a way to get into space.
Which, if they can get back into space, I think Orb should be solo.
But space is zaft's territory.
Correct. Well, I think this is a battle of 3 sides, not 2.
What if it was 5 sides?
A penta battle?
Well, technically, what if the Earth Alliance breaks up into its constituent places in rebellion against this action against Orb? So you have the Eurasian Alliance, and then the Atlantic Alliance, and possibly there has to be a Pacific Alliance. I would think.
You would think so.
That would be 5 right there, because then you'd have zaft and Orb as well. Not even taking into account if the Kleins are like a 6th organization. You know, wherever, God, I've called him Ernst so many times, but I think I've proven I was wrong. I believe Ernst is just a guy from 86, the president of a different country in 86.
I believe so?
Siegel Klein. Caw. If Siegel is up to something, because he seems to have his whole, like, mini zaft organization backing him up.
Yeah, there's a lot. The sides have been switched in a way that we don't know full alignments yet.
Well, that's all of my thoughts. Is there anything else you wanted to put in there before we get into this?
No. I'm more trying to figure out what's going on with Athrun at the moment. And where his head's at.
Well, remember, the last thing he did was he protected Lacus against the people that were trying to either kill her or take her in.
Correct, but he was also being told to eliminate her by his higher-ups.
Right. Well, that's what I mean to indicate, that he went against orders.
Yeah.
But then still took out the Justice on orders from his dad. The same orders that he already went against. So is he already independent, or is he still trying to follow orders? Plus, the whole last thing Lacus told him about Kira being alive.
The Kira being alive thing is definitely a shock factor.
Yeah, it was to us.
Indeed.
You know, all they could have done was added like one of those kids that was with the Reverend, looking at the explosion and saying, "Ah, nobody could have survived that." You know? Just in our faces just a little bit more. Yes, I know, Mr. Fricky, nobody should be upset about this. Clearly he tanked the heat blast. Disagree. Sorry, I've also got the cocky-ass look of Azrael staring me in the face as the first frame of this episode, so it's just like this kid could not be staring at me with a more annoying look.
Yeah, Azrael is, so far he's been a very impactful character for the short time that he's been around.
Well, yeah, because he had, like, full control of the council meeting that he was in, of whatever, I'm assuming Atlantic Federation people. Or
Correct.
Alliance. I can never tell if it's Alliance or Federation. I think I just went like going willy-nilly on either word. That way I'll be half right at the very least. But yeah, no, he like just says, well, we could do this thing, and then they all do it. Versus like all the setup of all the zaft council meetings, which have been back and forth between Siegel and Patrick about whether we should do a thing or not, and then it turns out Patrick just says, fuck it, we're doing what I say. Which causes the whole Siegel, I'm going to say rebellion right now, because I don't know what the hell to call it.
Yeah, so I agree. I don't know.
He's been more effectual. I don't know how much of an effect he's had so far, given that he's the cause of one battle out of a number of them. But he's been more effectual in that his words caused something to immediately happen. Whereas everybody else in the show has had to have, like, meeting after meeting after meeting to get something to happen.
Yeah, I think he might be something to do with Blue Cosmos.
They actively mentioned Blue Cosmos that they're not. During that meeting, he said, I can't remember exactly what he says, but somebody else in the meeting says, but we're not Blue Cosmos. So literally that's out of the picture.
Somebody else said we're not Blue Cosmos.
Yeah, in the council meeting, where they're all talking about each other.
That's what I'm saying. It was somebody else who actively stated we are not Blue Cosmos. We have not heard from Azrael whether he is or not.
Okay, distinction in the comments that we're making is that I'm saying that the faction isn't Blue Cosmos. I'm not saying
correct.
One way or the other that Azrael is not Blue Cosmos. If I was going to get down into who is or who isn't Blue Cosmos in the show on a character level, we'll be here for another hour.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I guess if that's everything, let's go ahead and get on into it.
Let's do it. Orb has to do what we tell them.
Admiral uniform.
よってこれを機に艦を離れようと思う者は今より速やかに退艦し、オーブ政府の指示に従って避難してください。
Yeah, the meeting that went on too short.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I very much brought up the fact that anyone who wants to leave can leave. And then she immediately thanks everybody for staying while Kuzi's like... And then Kuzi leaves. Yeah, and the new abilities of the Gundams. One of them had like energy shields on top of their actual shields.
Correct. There's energy shields, ball and chain.
Oh, also, to the amphetamines thing. If you recall, before they went out to attack...
Yep.
Sorry, I thought we were going to go into the intro real quick. Nope. Okay. Every time it slows down and it looks like it's about to pause on something, I keep expecting the intro. Because this is all technically recap and we haven't hit anything new yet. That's the last thing we saw. Opening.
Come on.
So I was saying, the 3 pilots from the Atlantic Federation, before they got into the Gundams, we saw them just lazing about, like they were laying over a thing, just all tired and all this shit. Like, the idea is maybe they're lazy, or maybe they're just disinterested, but now they're like manically excited now that they're in the Gundams, after having taken the thing, which would be a result of amphetamines, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they were supposed to be getting that they might be crazy, right? Or just like, not manic depressive, bipolar? I don't know. Something of that nature. But I can't help but think they took a thing and suddenly they're super energized and like manic. So I gotta believe maybe amphetamines, and maybe that's Rao's problem. Maybe Rao, as we previously discussed, those things are very addictive. And maybe Rao is dealing with addiction issues. Maybe that's why he's literally wrapped up in a blanket and shaking and like taking handfuls of pills.
Yeah, that I could see that, especially if he's been in the military for a long time.
It's just 2 sets of facts that kind of line up together. Thank God we color coordinated. See, if this was zaft, they'd be launching shit from orbit, like the gun gears and shit.
I wonder if we're gonna see after this the Buster finally get an upgrade.
Depends on what happens with Durka. Also, technically, this is 3 Gundams versus 3 Gundams.
True. He's like, yo, I know who you are.
Well, I mean, he did identify himself as Zaft, so I guess that means he's still with Zaft.
Yep.
I figured there has to be standing orders about what to do when you encounter Earth Federation forces.
Yes, however, he's not on standard mission. He's here to get the Gundam and eliminate all parties involved.
That's fair. I mean, you could use the all parties involved as a way into this.
No, so it's not even that. If this battle's lost, right? If this battle's lost, there's risk that the Gundam will be destroyed, thus he cannot get it back, thus he fails his mission.
I mean, we're arguing 2 different points for the same effect, so I think we can just take it both as a win.
Hell yeah.
I know I just got to, in my head, I got Panama mixed with this. Because, like, where's Gazik at? It's like, oh wait, Gazik was in Panama. Okay, so they can only take so many hits.
Yeah. No, they're clearly not at nowhere near the quality of the Gundams that we're seeing. Smart tactics, though.
I feel like we do keep reusing that one shot of the missiles coming in.
It's a good shot to reuse.
Oh wait, it's 4 against 3. I keep forgetting Ra was here.
Yeah, because these are just mobile suits, right?
Right, but I mean... sorry, Ra. Laflaga is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Laflaga, Durka, Athrun, and Kira.
ご自慢の新型、思うほど働いてくれてはおらぬようですが。
Huh. Orga is a main character's name from Iron Blooded Orphans, another Gundam show.
Okay.
So something stronger than amphetamines, huh? Hey, return of the claw grab.
Radar, Forbidden, Calamity, 起動します。何?
We built up a resistance to the drug. We need another hit.
どういうことだね、これは。
What?
I think he's made the drug, and nobody else knows what's going on.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
あれ抜きで戦ったら全滅しますよ。信号弾撃て。一時撤退。
Is that the equivalent of a white flag?
No, it's retreat, not surrender.
Okay.
援護は感謝する。だが、その真意を改めて確認したい。
Kira is also learning.
俺はその機体、フリーダムの奪還、あるいは破壊という命令を本国から受けている。だが今、俺はお前とその友軍に敵対する意思はない。
Like I said, a good negotiator could turn this around without having to fight the freedom.
Very quickly.
All they gotta do is talk to Carpathia.
So let
Or
me say this.
Carpentera.
If Kira stays on this path that we're seeing, he will end as a likable character.
話がしたい。お前とアスラン。
I would like it. I'm gonna look away because there's that scene I don't want to see. I would like it if if Kira stopped being the main character. Like, I don't know what Destiny is about, Gundam Seed Destiny, but if it, like, switched over to Athrun as the main character, I'd be down for that.
If we're going to switch main characters for Gundam Seed Destiny, I want Kigali to be the main character.
No, because she's tied to Kira. I mean, obviously Athrun is tied to Kira too, but I mean, Athrun spends a lot of time away from Kira, where Kigali is, like, looking for Kira.
True, but I think I would have it be so Athrun and Kira and Kigali come to a friendly resolution of what it is, and then it switches focus where Athrun goes off to a different fight.
You know how much it would immediately destroy the war effort if Athrun quick-fired and shot Kira dead?
Oh, absolutely.
Although I'm expecting, like, a hug or something to happen.
彼は敵じゃない。アスラン。
A Zaft Orb alliance would make them on friendly terms again.
True.
It would be a solution.
But a Zaft Orb alliance goes against the orders he was given.
Well, that has nothing to do with him. It would go above his head, as it were.
Yes.
See, this is a better version of the theme song.
I agree.
So again, it's that Girl Scout scene that makes me think that they're not brothers.
Oh, yes. Athrun and a beret.
Well, it's the whole thing of they've just met each other. They knew each other when they were kids, so they didn't just meet each other.
Yeah, Asra.
Hey, 3 factions all together represented by 3 different people.
Yeah, she was about to blow. She...
Sorry, the joke in my head is which one?
My next thing was, and now kiss.
Oh, now the guitar version. I think I like the guitar version better than the piano version.
We're just going through cool versions of the opening.
大変だってことは分かってる。ありがとう。すまない。でも仕方ない。
So I know that was Haw in the background, but it very much looked like Flay. It's like Flay can't be here.
言う通りだと思うから。
No. Flay's gonna join Zaft.
That was on the next time on.
大西洋連邦は
True.
その力も利用してプラントを攻めるよ。ザフトの側についても同じことだ。ただ敵が変わるだけで。それじゃあしょうがない。
Green outfit though. And she's the lowest of the low.
だからしかし
It makes sense.
僕は君の仲間友達を殺した。でも僕は彼を知らない。殺したかったわけでもない。君もトールを殺した。でも君もトールのことを知ら
And
ない。
now she knows who killed Toll.
殺したかったわ
Or
けでも
Toll
ない。
A or whatever.
俺はお前を殺そうとした。
In defense of everything,
僕もさ。
I put Nicole up here, and I put Toll down here, so
戦わな
Yeah,
いです。
we
I'm valuing lives.
Toll was a constant spot of positivity, but at the same time,
でも戦争はどんどん広がろうとするば
Look,
か
I
り。
said it back in the day, and I'll say it again. In my mind, Toll's last words were that weird ass noise he made walking off the bridge.
and their roller coaster will no longer come.
勝つために必要となったのだ。あのエネルギーが。
このままじゃ本当にプラントと地球はお互いに滅ぼし合うしかなくなるよ。だから僕も戦うんだ。キラ。たとえ守るためでも、もう銃を撃ってしまった僕だから。
The reverse Batman, then.
僕たちもまた戦うのかな。
Gotta hate the reverse Batman.
キラ。
Yeah, before all you DC fans go out there and start saying shit. I don't mean the actual reverse Batman. I don't mean Owlman or Wrath or any of those guys.
Or Man-Bat?
もう作業に戻らなきゃ。
I just mean the point that Batman says if I started killing people, I
い
wouldn't
つ
be
再
able to
開され
stop.
るかわかんないから。一つだけ聞きたい。
Kira said I already pulled that trigger.
フリーダム
So,
はニュートロンジャマーキャンセラーが搭載されている。そのデータ、お前はここであれを何かに利用しようとする人がいるなら僕が撃つ。
Kira, you have a habit of walking out of your Gundam into like places you could get shot.
おい。
何よ。
あ、いや、その。
Yeah, Kira needs a lesson of this is a bad space to just be out and about.
だから何？あんた聞いてなかったの？キラの言ったこと。
いや。
あの人を殺すとトールが帰ってくるの？
Well, if you do the ritual
そ
correctly.
うでしょ。だってそんなこと言わないで。
いや、ちょっと待てよ。
If you spin in a circle 4 times, then maybe.
あとどのくらいですか。もろもろの準備が整うのは。
オーブからは再三にわたって階段の要請が来ておるが。
ああ、もうダメダメです。そんなの。
We made it too late for that.
せめて制圧できなかった国なんて。
Yeah, it might be because you attacked.
Uh-oh,
こちらの
nukes.
準備は間もなく終わる。問題なのはそちらなのではないのかね。
おやおや、これは失礼。では、早々に再開といきましょうかね。お仕置きももう十分でしょうし、今度こそしっかりと働いてもらわないと、デモンストレーションにもなりゃしない。
Oh, when he said they were getting,
Okay.
when he said they'd been punished long enough, I thought it meant they were punishing them for their drug addiction problem.
見張ってる
It's like, what's that gonna do?
そうか。
キラが生きててよかったな。
え？ああ。あの時、俺は礼も言わなかったな。
I also like the harpsichord version of the theme song.
言ったさ、ちゃんと。
Yeah, no, they're just pulling out banger versions of the theme
そう
song.
か。
ボケてたからな。覚えてないんだろう。
ああ。
キラ変わったろ。
いや、
そうか。
やっぱりあいつだよ。
あ、お前どうするんだこれから。
They're continuing to build the connection.
またかよ。
だが、もう
Sorry, my snap answer is, so?
苦しいな。
みんなな。
グリフェプタンを10単位追加してやる。2時間は持つだろう。また苦しい思いをしたくなかったら今度頑張るんだな。
ありがたいことで。
Okay, I'm gonna bet that those three are coordinators. And they got them addicted to a drug in order to force them to do what they want.
Okay, I like the theory.
今度こそ落としてやる。
The way they pilot makes sense that they would be coordinators.
Well, you remember they're probably all using the program that Kira developed that allows naturals to pilot mobile suits. Which is another big reason why I think the theory fits that they've gotten their mobile suits from Orb. Because Orb is the one that had that program. Unless, well, no, because the stuff they stole. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay. The thing that Rao bought in Alaska, Rao knows Azrael because he's name dropped him before. So maybe he
Correct.
bought the program in Alaska from, I don't know, God knows who, and then gave it to Azrael because he's playing all the sides.
Alternative theory. They are human, but what's-his-face developed a drug that temporarily gives them the abilities of coordinators.
Well, that's a good one, too.
And when they're not on it, they go, like, it's kind of like the haste spell.
立ち返れば見えてくるその顔、聞こえてくるその言葉が思い届かず、迫る闇は深く、追い込まれるはさらに苦難の道か。次回機動戦士ガンダムシード、暁の空へ、その名のもと突き抜けろガンダム。
I didn't get it.
So,
I didn't get what the thorough line was there.
neither did I.
Yeah, like I said, your idea is good too. What I was going to say, and I was waiting for whatever was happening on screen to finish, is the idea that they say that a coordinator is the only one who can fight another coordinator. I mean, this works for your idea too, but
Yep.
that we don't see LaFlaga fighting the Gundams. He's just fighting the guys on the ground, which would be people with the natural program, same as him. Assuming that's what they're doing. It has to be, because we went through this whole thing that naturals can't pilot mobile suits. Even the Orb people who made them couldn't pilot them right until Kira made the program. So the fact it's only coordinators that have been fighting the guys, the Earth Alliance guys, in the mobile suits, implies that these guys are fighting on a level equivalent to coordinators.
Correct.
So, also the thing that they're like keeping them isolated and they're not like trusting them makes me think that maybe they're just coordinators too. Because if they were like guys that they're giving this drug to that makes them like coordinators for a temporary time so they can fight, you'd think that they'd be treating these guys with more respect because they're like sacrificing themselves to fight.
Unless they're just test subjects for them.
Even so, I mean, like test pilots. The test pilots get a lot of respect for what they do.
I'm doing more medical experimentation view, not military.
Well, the thing is they're piloting mobile suits. Gundams, if they were.
Correct.
Right, which means
Well,
that they're
we've
already
seen that
great pilots, too.
We've seen Azrael basically be like, he is testing his product. You can clearly see it. He's like, give him more, send him back.
Yeah, no. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but even then, they are still pilots of mobile suits / Gundams, which means that they are kind of the best of what they can do. So, in any situation I can think of, and movies anyway, obviously I don't have no real life examples of this, but like movies, you take a good pilot or a good military officer, and you take him for a test of something, they're typically respected, or at the very least valued. So even if these guys were like test subjects, they should still be valued, versus they seem to be like isolated and looked down upon, which if these guys are, if Azrael's Blue Cosmos, or they're just coordinators surrounded by naturals that hate them, that feels effectively like what it feels like to me.
I think if both possibilities make sense.
Well, obviously, I think mine makes more sense because it's mine. I am unable to not be biased. I just feel like the evidence doesn't support why are they being treated that way if they're sacrificing so much for a test.
Because it could be a full expectation that they're going to die.
Even more reason to value them. Like, that's the people.
Absolutely.
Those are the people you like give special grave sites and like remember the people that sacrificed their lives.
That's coming from the perspective of someone who has somewhat decent morals. Azrael's morals are clearly out the goddamn window.
No, I understand that from a person standpoint, but he also does represent an organization. Like, he has military authority to command the people on the bridge and whatnot, and that means that the whole military operation at least recognizes who these people are.
Yeah, they recognize what he reports back.
No, I mean, literally, like, people get out of the thing, they fall to the ground, and they have a crew there waiting to help them out. So,
Fair enough.
I mean, maybe not help them out, arrest them if I'm right, but, I mean, it's a weird scenario that I can't foresee. That it'd be like sending an astronaut into orbit, and then they come back down, and then you throw them in jail because they're a drug addict. But you gave me the drugs. I needed those drugs to go to space. You know, that kind of scenario. It doesn't make much sense. Now, if it turns out like, oh, the only astronauts we could get were from Russia, and we're currently kind of at war, so we're going to send them up to do this very specific thing, and then they're going back into military prison when they get back. It's just like a storyline I could see happening more.
Yeah.
Because it feels like if what you're saying is true, these guys should be treated as heroes.
I don't know.
Well, it's not like I've understood the fucking show for the majority of it, so it's not like I couldn't be wrong. It just doesn't feel right. Also,
I
obviously,
agree that it doesn't feel right.
Obviously, also the Durka-Hall relationship.
I am happy with the way that's going.
It is odd. I mean, obviously, he didn't kill Toll, so there's not like that barrier. Although he does to her represent the people who killed Toll, even though the person who killed Toll is now known and in the room.
So I'm going to throw out a phrase that I have jokingly said a lot of times. However, this, I think, is a proper, healthy version of trauma bonding. They have both been through shit in relation to the same spheres, but they are not the direct causes of it. So they see that it's there, and they're getting closer by exploring, can I forgive what I've seen against the people who are not the actual cause?
I mean, there's certainly a good example of trauma bonding. I was trying to think while you were explaining. Like, Kira and Athrun feel like they've had more time to heal from what's happened. Like, I don't know that Kira's actually thought about Toll all that much. We know
Athrun
has. Not Toll.
Athrun has.
Nicole, though.
Okay. Kira and Athrun have had more time to heal. However, I don't think they have actually used it to heal.
Well, I mean, like, how many times has Athrun talked to Kigali about, like, what he did and Nicole's death, and he talked to Yazik about Nicole's death. He's had a short conversation with Nicole's dad about what happened. Like, Athrun's had a lot of time and ability to get it off of his chest and talk to people. I don't know that Kira even thinks about Toll.
No, Kira seems very focused on the task at hand. Athrun?
Kira has talked about Nicole more than he has Toll.
I think Athrun is set up to actually heal properly. He's set up to go through the process. It feels like he's going more through the processes of grief gradually versus Kira, who is just using it as motivation.
Well, Kira's constantly been of the mind, I have to protect my friends. But then one of them actively gets killed, and he doesn't, like, do any... maybe I may forget it. Maybe I'm forgetting.
It feels like compartmentalizing.
Like, am I forgetting a scene where he actually even thought about Toll? Because he's talked about the friend of Athrun's that he's killed.
Yeah. More
than Athrun killed one of my friends. He's more worried about Athrun and his relationship than the fact Athrun killed Toll. And yeah, so I don't have much to say from Kira's perspective.
I think he's holding on to what's there versus what's been lost.
Sure, I mean, that would seem to fit.
But that's just a guess.
But I bring that up in relationship to Haw and Durka, only in so much that maybe Haw has had time, because she's like had a few little explosions about this, but Durka certainly hasn't. Durka has been locked up in solitary for a long time, and Haw has been his only out. So he's had like 2, 3, maybe 3 now conversations, even regarding Toll or his position in anything.
Yeah.
And certainly not about any loss of Nicole, even though I'm not really sure that he was good friends with Nicole. Because he was kind of with Yazik in this of, we should kind of overthrow Athrun as the leader. We could be our group.
Little bit.
And certainly Yazik was upset, but I'm not even sure Yazik was upset because Nicole died. It felt maybe more Yazik was upset that a member of his group died. You know, kind of like seeing people as possessions more so than people. He's not upset that Nicole as a person, someone he knew, died. He's upset that one of his possessions was taken from him.
Yeah. No, I see it.
I don't know. This feels like there was a lot to break down in this episode, and my bad memory is only holding on to the very end, what happened at the end of the episode. That's why I typically have so many notes at the very end. Why I have so many notes coming into new episodes is because I've rewatched everything and I remembered everything I wanted to think about.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on your end?
No.
Alright, then I guess we go ahead and call it here and figure out what the hell that next time on was about.
Exactly.
So once again, I am Theta, this has been Justin, we've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?